Mm-hmm.
What was it that Boris said about Spider-Man chip that time that you used as an intro? Sometimes.
Oh, okay. Would you like to have sex with my ship? Let me just reverse away from the rock a little bit in case you get a bit rough with me.
Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Partners in Grind. And Anubis made me bring it in this time. I don't know why he did that to me.
Why not?
I don't know. I thought it
Oh.
was your job. It's
I
like,
still leftover messages from the last episode, so if you're wondering what that was all about, you can watch the end of the last one.
yeah, it's a good point actually. If we'd have just waited a few seconds longer, all of those messages would have disappeared.
And gone, yeah, like they are now.
Yeah.
I wonder how I'm doing for ore. Uh,
Oh yeah, let's have a look and see what we've got. Yeah. So, yeah, just to finish the Minecon story, I've got 288,000. I bet you've got more than me.
yeah, I've got quite a bit already. I'm looking at my pick is or my connector is full.
Hmm.
Looks like my cargo container is full. My drills are getting full, but they're not full yet. So I can still go for a little bit. We'll probably have to do what we did last time, whereas near the end of this episode, we'll fly back over to my place.
Yeah.
Separate it out.
Well, you know, if you run out of space, we can always like do the ship copulation thing, and you can drop some in my ship and empty yours out, and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll do, yes, I'm going to leave it with what you said. I had a very PG and engineering type way of saying the same thing, and I decided that your way was way better, so I'm going to leave it at that. So yes, you were saying about Minecon.
uh, yeah. The Minecon was great. I enjoyed it. It was good fun and all of that. But the thing that I enjoyed most about Minecon was that because I wasn't at work and I had plenty of sort of free time and I had no computer. Well, I took my laptop, but I couldn't really game and I couldn't do any editing, and so I had a lot of time on my hands. And I spent hours and hours and hours talking with Mia,
Oh,
and I just really, really enjoyed that. Just getting to know Mia better. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was actually my favourite thing about the whole of Minecon. And when
hmm.
Mia watches this, he's gonna cringe so bad. He just, yeah, he doesn't. He struggles really nice with anyone. He struggles really bad when anyone says anything nice about him. He doesn't know how to take it.
Well, he's got to get used to it because he's awesome, and we're going to keep saying nice things.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So would you go again, or have you been there, done that?
Oh
Got
no,
the t-shirt?
definitely do it again. And I did get the T-shirt. The T-shirt is cool. I got the T-shirt and the lanyard and the all the bits and pieces and things and stuff.
All
Um,
the what do they call that? Swag.
yeah, all the swag and all the swag that you. I actually got offered money for my T-shirt because it was an agent's T-shirt, so it wasn't one that's
Oh,
available. Same with things like the lanyard. It was and they're all themed. So the agent's lanyard has a picture of an iron golem on it, whereas all of the general public's lanyards had something else. I think they had creepers or something.
okay.
So the agent's sort of everything that we had some sort of iron golem.
So
Uh,
yeah, they were themed so
yeah,
that if you weren't of that ilk, you didn't get that thing.
uh-huh, that's right. And the agents had green t-shirts, whereas the staff had grey t-shirts, and the I can't remember what t-shirts colours you could actually buy, but you couldn't buy an agent t-shirt. You could only get
That's kind
it
of cool
by
though, because
volunteering.
like,
Hmm.
because you had to work for that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So it's kind of cool that it was exclusive for the people that were putting in that effort.
yeah. And on the first day that I was working, which was a setup day, that was the only day where I wasn't looking after celebrities. My I joined the IT team to go and set up the computers, and I fell into role where the guys who were, I mean, I can set up a computer, but there were people there who do that for a living. So I took up the role of making sure that they were all kept in sort of the components they needed, and I supplied everybody with peripherals and cables and all the things that they needed in order to build the things that they needed to build. And I was happy as Larry. Uh, and
Is Larry a generally happy guy?
he is.
Okay.
Uh, and they gave me this enormous, great big. It was like a wooden cargo container, which was just full of cables, and all these cables were all tangled and messy, and so I spent several hours just untangling cables, just really enjoying it. While everyone else is cursing over Windows set up some product keys, I was there learning more than I really needed to know about VGA cable head sizes.
Oh, that's awesome. It's kind of like the things you don't expect to hear about going to a gaming conference, right? Because you're right in there with all of the setup and everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was. I was there moving things out the way while they were laying the carpet and stuff like that. You know, it was, yeah, really properly backstage.
Hmm. Good stuff.
Oh, and that reminds me of a story I was going to tell.
Oh,
This is
okay.
okay. So this is a long, a very very tenuous link, but it did.
The best kind.
Yeah, yeah. So I was talking about Mia, which came from talking about Minecon, got me talking about Mia, and that reminded me of a story about Germany. I was like, okay,
One of
very
my favorite
tenuous.
places in the whole world.
Yeah. I've talked about how I had a job which had me traveling the world.
That's right.
Hmm. Well, before I got that job where I was traveling the world, I had barely travelled anywhere. I in my entire life, I had taken one plane ride. I'd been on one flight,
Wow.
and I joined. So I joined the company, and I had been asked whether I wanted to do national or international, and whether I wanted to do technical or commodity. And I was just like, oh yeah, you can stick me on international. I'll do whatever you want if I get to travel. That's great.
Hmm.
Um, but they assumed that I had some experience of traveling. And because I'd opted for technical rather than commodity, there was a 9-month training program. And because what I was doing was dealing a lot with foreign governments and helping them to design infrastructure networks, and helping them get the funding from World Bank or the International Monetary Fund, and putting together tenders and sort of technical specs. And so it was quite an involved job, and there was a lot of training before I could travel. And the whole time I was terrified that they were going to realise that I had never actually been anywhere. So my entire experience had been, I'd been on a day trip to France, which involved a coach ride, getting on a ferry, crossing the ferry to the other side of the channel, getting off in a foreign speaking country. But that's only sort of 20 miles from the English border. and I had taken one flight just because I really, really, really wanted to go on an airplane. And I'd flown from Manchester Airport to Frankfurt because that was the cheapest place I could find. And I had a few years earlier learnt some German. I'm very bad at languages, and I thought maybe if I go to Germany and go live in Germany for a few months, like sort of this is sort of school, university holidays. You get sort of 3 months, the 3 months summer semester type thing. I thought I'll go stay in Germany and I'll go learn how to speak German proper.
Best laid plans.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out like that. My German was just as bad when I came back as it was when I went there.
So Sal, just have to interrupt you for a slight minute. What was it that Boris said about Spider-Man chip that time that you used as an intro? Sometimes.
Oh, okay. Would you like to have sex with my ship? Let me just reverse away from the rock a little bit in case you get a bit rough with me. Okay.
So you can continue on, and also, is it this
right connector
right here?
No, not the one. No, that's my ejector.
Oh,
have I got that off? Yeah, yeah. So it's the one at the back. It might not be the easiest thing to connect to because it doesn't protrude very much. It's kind of heavily protected against people who might ram it into rocks.
Mine does stick out a bit. So.
Oh, I need to turn mine on.
Yeah, and we probably have to share with each other.
Mine's on. It should be. Let me check.
I need to go info. No, not info.
Everything share with all. Yeah, I've got everything shared with all. I have to have everything shared with all because of the number of times you come out without anything in your containers.
That's right. Okay, I'm kind of... Oops, wrong way.
I remember the last time I was trying to do this with Boris, the pair of us were both trying to drive.
Yeah, that doesn't work so well. All right, I'm locked. Oop, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Now I'm locked.
All right, so...
Right, I will transfer stuff all over to you, and you continue on with your story.
So I'm just watching the cargo containers filling.
Oh, is it pulling? Oh, is it like sucking? Did it?
I don't think so. I think you need to transfer.
Everything's empty.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Okay, so your ship is like the greedy stealer ship.
That's nice to know.
So do you have everything in there now? Like,
I don't know.
Looks like. Let me disconnect mine.
Is yours empty?
Oops, that's what I wanted. No. Okay, no, I have some in the connectors still.
It looked like you had some in your cargo container as well.
Oh, wait, no, the drills... Okay, I see.
Ah, so it's emptied all your drills into mine. Or emptied your drills... Emptied enough space to empty your drills.
Yeah, so I have to do the other bits, but the drills went straight into your empty space. I guess that's by design. That's how they work.
Yeah. So you should be able to just do it by picking it up in a single lump and just dropping the whole lot in.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find where your... So it's the cargo rear? Is that where I want to put it all?
Yeah, that'll be fine. Any of them.
All right. Let's hide the empty ones. Now I just got to go through. So yeah, so you continue on.
So I'd had 2 flights in one flight in my entire life, which was going from my it is full. You're right. Except my drills, I've got loads of space in my drills.
But is that your only cargo container?
Filled both of them, and my connector.
Oh wow. Okay, well then I'll just keep drilling with what space I have left then, and then we'll have to. We filled up both ships. It looks like almost so. Okay, I'll just go start drilling again then. I'll leave what I have in here. All right. So sorry again.
Uh-huh.
To try to continue on.
Yeah. Sorry for that slight distraction there. A bit of ship copulation always.
That's right. We had to use our brainstem there. So.
Yeah, yeah. And stories and brainstems just don't go. Yeah, so in my fear of being caught out that I'd never travelled anywhere, and here I was in a job working the export market where they wanted to send me away to all kinds of foreign and exotic places, and I was very eager to go to foreign and exotic places. And I knew that if they thought I was that inexperienced, that there's no way they would send me to foreign and exotic places. And the countries that I started off with, the territories that I was given to look after, were all the places that nobody else wanted to go to. So I got South America and China, and it was Eastern Bloc at the time, so sort of Eastern Europe and Russia and all the weird places. When I say weird, I mean the places that didn't fit into anyone's territory comfortably. So I got Iceland and just all kinds of the most amazing places to go to. I didn't get to go to them all, but I got to go to plenty of them.
That's so cool.
But in this 9 months of training, every time, because they were all traveling such a lot, there was always stories about which type of plane they'd been on, and stories about airports, and so I cooked up this story which I kept going for 9 months about how every time I'd ever flown, it had always been on a stretch 747. And I was just like, it's such a bizarre coincidence, but every single plane I've ever been on has always been one of those. And they're saying, and they're asking me like, well, have you only ever travelled in Europe? And I was like, yeah, you know, because I was open about that. I said I've travelled all over Europe, which is true, because when I'd taken this one flight to Frankfurt, and I'd then caught a train. When I was travelling back to the UK, I caught a train from Germany, travelled through Germany, it gone through Belgium and Holland, and so the train had gone through a number of different countries in order to get to the ferry to take me back to the UK. And I was like, yeah, travelled all over Europe, and of course this one day trip to France as well, which counted as all over Europe. And I just wasn't very specific as to exactly what I meant by all over Europe.
Emission of information, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You weren't lying. You were just
I just wasn't
holding back some details.
Absolutely. And so they weren't terribly surprised that me, with my European travels, I'd only ever been on a stretch 747, because there are lots of stretch 747s that work the European market. And when we were talking about airports and things, I used to I'd tell them that my favourite airport in the whole world was Manchester, because at the end of the day, Manchester was home. And when people would talk about like the awful airports that they'd been to, and because we ended up in some really backwater places at times, and I'd say that for all the airports in all the world that I've ever been to, so the one that I liked the least was Frankfurt, because it was just too clean and too sterile and too organised, and it's like, well, I've only ever been to 2 airports, and that was Manchester and Frankfurt. And actually, Frankfurt's a very nice airport, and especially now that I have been to airports all around the world, I can say that and justify it. Whereas at the time, I only had 2 airports that I could talk about. And yeah, I managed to keep that. I managed to sound like I was a seasoned traveller for all that time, with just those 2 stories, and I completely blagged it. And after because there was no sort of official end to your training. It just got to the point where one day my boss said to me, Sal, can you go to China a week on Friday? We need you to go there for at least a month. And I was like, okay. It's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
This is my rubber arm, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was my first ever long haul flight. I flew into it was one of the last flights going into the old airport in Hong Kong, which was amazing. The old airport, the planes, they used to have to bank sideways to get the wings between the skyscrapers in Hong Kong. Oh God, I mean, now with my much more travelled experience, I would actually be quite afraid going into that airport. But back then, in total naivety, it was amazing. You know, the fact that the planes would twist to go between the skyscrapers, and
oh yeah,
you were looking into people's windows from the plane. It was yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been to China yet. It's definitely a place that I really want to go, but yeah, I've heard about that, but I've never experienced it yet.
Well, that airport's I don't think it exists anymore, or if it does, it's only local. Because they built a big airport out on a sort of man-made island.
Oh, okay. Japan did that too, didn't they? They actually built a massive airport out on a like man-made island. Because space is a problem for Japan.
Yeah. So it was, I ended up living in China for a while, but did a few trips out there.
And now you speak fluent Mandarin, right?
Not at all. In fact, I was chatting with Mia earlier about languages because he's a English language student and intends to be a teacher. And I was saying languages are just not my skill. I can turn my hand to so many things, but not languages. It's just really is my weakness.
Yeah, I've tried as well. I have a really hard time with them. I've tried multiple times to learn French, and I just can't get it.
Oh, of course, because I mean, you actually have French speakers in your country as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I love like Montreal is an amazing city. I've been there a few times, and it would just be nice to be able to actually speak French.
Yeah.
Of course, if there's anybody from France watching, then they don't think that Quebec speaks French, and if anybody from Quebec's watching, then they don't think that France speaks French.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
But that's how it is with any language that is separated. People from the same place are separated for long periods of time. They get their own dialects and changes to the words and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like you. I mean, you talk really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm a strange one.
You Canadians.
That's right. You watch out. I'll go get drunk Spider-Man and we'll team up on you.
Well, no matter how you look at it, I still speak the mother tongue.
That's right. That's where it all came from. Although, I mean, even English from England is such a hodgepodge of languages, right? It's like...
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's totally stolen.
Poor England was invaded, I don't know how many times before they finally figured out how to take over the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, like from all sides.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, and then the invaders would, you know, their language and the language that was in England at the time, or in the islands at the time, right, would get merged together and turn into something different and slowly but surely evolve into what we have today.
Yeah.
It's crazy. English history is quite interesting.
It is. There's because it's invaded by the Romans, the Saxons who are from Germany, the Normans,
the Angles, which were also German, but later on.
the Normans who were from France, but actually the name Norman comes from Norsemen. Because they were actually from the north, Vikings basically.
The Vikings took it.
And then there was the Vikings, the Danes, because King Canute was the king of all, well, pretty much most of Europe, most of Northern Europe, including the UK. Yeah, it's just been, and every time somebody's invaded, they've come along with the language, and the natives have stolen a good part of it. And it's interesting how the language is sort of moderated, because, like in France, I know they have the sort of, there's somebody who decides what is proper French and what isn't proper French. Whereas in the UK, the general rule is that if it's in the Oxford English Dictionary, then it's English. It's officially adopted. And the Oxford English Dictionary has a rule that if something has been written, I think it's more than 25,000 times, then it's English.
That gets added?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So
but we are over time.
Oh, are we?
I just realized that. Yep. So we probably should say goodbye, and we'll be back next time.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
I can feel it in my bones. I can feel it in my hands. I can feel it in my chest. We're the ones who understand. You could see it in our eyes. You sit right next to my soul.